the World War I and the US M 1917 boot. So that is coming up. Here's the date because you're probably watching this at a different point than I'm recording it. And now I'm gonna start wearing these, see how they wear in, see what they feel like. Just double check everything, make sure it's all how we want it.
This shoe completely changed Adidas skateboard. Adidas has been making skate shoes for a really long time, but the Busenitz is the one that's actually stuck around. And people really swear by this shoe. So I wanna see if it's actually built that well or if it just has a really good reputation. So we're gonna cut it in half and rank the 5 most important things in skate shoes, which is the fit, board feel, durability, cushion, and overall value. It's everything you need to know before you buy a skate shoe and to see if Adidas' best skate shoe actually lives up to the hype. So the brand is Adidas, the style is the Busenitz, the weight is 1 pound, 0.6 ounces. They retail for $85. They're made in Vietnam, and the positioning from the website says a vintage execution of Dennis Busenitz's iconic signature shoe. An homage to the legendary Copa Mundial, Dennis Busenitz's signature Busenitz shoe digs deeper into the archives for a vintage-inspired colorway built with premium materials featuring an off-white upper with chalk tooling and gold foil branding. The Busenitz shoe offers cushioned cupsole construction with the grip and board feel and a defining lock-in fit. But I didn't realize that there is the Busenitz, which I have here, and the Busenitz Pro, which I didn't know what the difference was, and I started doing some research, and it seems like no one knows what the actual differences are. The only difference I can see so far is the gold foil of the Busenitz name is a rectangle on this one and a straight line on the other ones. So I did some research, and I'm pretty sure they're the exact same shoe. There's no differences. They should be the same all across. This one's just a slightly different colorway. So if you want to try them out, buy them from the links in our description. We put every shoe we review down in the links just in case you want to check them out. But if you didn't know, Adidas is obviously the performance sports giant, but by the 80s and 90s, skaters were already picking up models like the Superstar and the Samba because of their durability and grip. So in the late 90s, Adidas officially entered skateboarding, competing with the top dogs at the time like DCS and America, but early efforts weren't super successful. It was described by a former product line manager as a billion-dollar ghetto. It was basically like having a rich German grandfather who wanted to fund your startup skate brand. So definitely seems like there's a lack of direction. They had riders though like Mark Gonzalez leading the way, but it all really changed when they signed Dennis Busenitz. And Dennis is a pro skater who rips and is really known for just hauling ass and going fast. He rides for Real Skateboards, which Real is one of the few companies that if you ride for them, you are one of the best dudes. It's like instant stamp of, all right, this dude is really good. So Adidas wanted to give Busenitz his props and gave him a pro shoe, and Busenitz said he wanted his shoe based on an older soccer model, the Copa Mundial. The product testing was slow though, because the designers in Germany would have to ship a sample to Dennis in the States and he'd skate him and send it back and so on and so forth. So after a long process of tweaking, it finally launched and had an amazing reception. Like, this shoe helped finally cement Adidas as an actual competitive force in the skate world. It was pivotal because it bridged the gap between like sport and skate properly. It really introduced like the soccer DNA lane and opened the door for more soccer style models, and it released when skate shoes were moving away from bulky puff daddies towards like slimmer, more pared down designs. And really, for being honest, it just looks good. Look good, feel good, skate good, right? And honestly, all the Adidas models seem to look really good. Like, the logo just adds to the aesthetic instead of being a big sore spot on the eyes. So for the fit and flick, it's pretty long, but nothing too pointy. If 1 is being really blunt and 10 is being really pointy, I'd probably put this as a 6.5. It's pointier than average, but the toe is surprisingly rounded. You should have some really good quick flicks on it. It also has this external rubber heel piece that should help you keep your heel locked in a little bit more, and it's soft enough that it's not gonna like destroy your grip if you're doing heel flips, even though your heel shouldn't hit that much. But it really fits well, almost like a glove, and it has these heel pods that keep you secure, and the tongue has just the right amount of foam for me. It's like not too much, not too little. And of course, it has the extendo tongue that you can actually cut off. It has little scissors lines right there in case you want to make it shorter, which I feel like I would do. I don't love the super extendo tongue, but it does feel pretty good. Then onto the board feel ranking. It's pretty thin on the toes and it has some sort of cushion on the heel. It does say it's a cushioned cupsole construction. I'm not sure if that's like actual cushion or just an egg crate. It's probably an egg crate for this price. But if I had to rank it 1 being completely barefoot and 10 being absolutely no feeling at all, I'd probably rank it a 4.5. Like, you have a ton of board feel for being a cup. It's one of those rare slim cups, most likely. Go check out the cup versus Volk video where I kind of break down the science behind each kind of shoe and the 7 levels of skate shoes. But onto the most important ranking is the durability. So starting with the upper, it has this PU coated leather upper, and the leather on the toe comes in about 1.5 millimeters, which is right on par. This style of leather is used on a lot of Adidas models. It's a little slippery at first, and you can see it wears off pretty quick. It gets that grandma skin texture when you crease it and you press down on it. It's because that's the coating actually separating from the leather itself. I usually opt for suede since it has more grip, but it's a personal choice. I know a lot of complaints with Adidas leather. It is pretty slippery, and I'm gonna have to agree with that. And it wears away pretty pretty fast, but like it just wears the coating off. You still get the leather underneath it. And I also dissected off the toe to see if this is actually double layered, like if this is another piece over the top of it. And it's not, unfortunately. More leather is more better, especially in skate shoes that rub against sandpaper all day. But these logo stripes are actually real leather, so you do get a hair extra durability near your ollie spot. And if you put it on the abrasion test, where anything over 1,000 cycles is good, anything under, I'd like to see a little better leather. This unfortunately fails at 388, which is pretty dang low, and honestly backs up the most common complaint with this leather is that it just wears out too quickly, and I'm gonna have to agree with it based on that abrasion test. So stick to the suede. I feel like suede has a better batting average overall in any skate shoe. But the outsole, it is that rubber cupsole. It's got your classic Adidas tread. Its hardness is measuring anywhere from the 55 to 65 shore, so it's a little softer and more grippy than most cupsoles you see, and you can definitely feel it's softer. It's really good for grip, but it's less durable in the long run. So if I had to do the pre-cut durability ranking from 0 to being bad, 100 being excellent, 50 being average, I'd probably go 40. The leather abrasion is not giving me a lot of hope, and the outsole is definitely trading grip and flexibility for durability, so it's kind of like which one do you value. But if you wanted to extend the life of your quickly failing shoe, I made these pig suede patches you can add on yourself. And pig suede is one of the most abrasion resistant materials we've ever tested. They last around 300 strokes on the abrasion test while being thinner than most leathers at 1.2 millimeters thick. So they don't add a ton of bulk to your shoes when you put them on. It's really good for shoes like this where the leather wears really fast or is really slippery. You just put it on, lace it through, measure where your outsole is, cut it off and glue it down, and you're good to go. Once this wears out, you just peel it off, put a new one on, and keep going. Like you can double or triple the life of your upper. They're also big enough to cut out almost any size patch you need and stick it where you need it. Like I like to put one where I ollie and one where I flick, and you can definitely see where you're gonna need it on these shoes for sure. You're definitely gonna need one where you flick. You're definitely gonna need one where you ollie. So you get 5 patches and a tube of shoe goo to attach them. It's almost as much leather as in an entire pair of shoes, which is a crazy value, really. And for my Anvil people, you can use the code MAKEMELASTLONGER and get 10% off because I think that's funny. So you can double the life of your shoes unless you like spending all your money all the time. Your call. Go live your life, dude. So big thanks to Anvil for letting me do this and helping me start this out of the shop and helping me save you your hard-earned money, I suppose. But if we get away from all that and we go to the cushioning portion, it has the classic Adidas skateboarding insole, which is a really dense open cell foam. We tested it a lot in that insole video. It performed pretty well, surprisingly. If I put it into one of the 3 insole categories from that video of support, response, and squish, it's definitely in the responsive area. And the ball drop test was pretty average. For the midsole, I would bet that this is an egg crate, which is a cheaper way to cushion. It's also a good way to make a cup feel as responsive as a vulcanized shoe. So you definitely have more board feel over cushion for sure in this shoe, which makes me think that it's an egg crate. The bar drop was fairly high as well at 5.2 inches, so definitely hitting on way more responsive than cushion. So pre-cut, if I had to rank the cushioning, 0 being barefoot, 100 being you're sitting on pillows, I'd probably say 40. It's pretty thin, but I think that's kind of what they were going for. It's not a bad thing to be scored that low. It just kind of depends on what you value. So let's cut it in half and finalize the rankings after I see what's inside. Rip. All right, so we got it cut in half and everything's cut off so we can run all of our tests. Make sure you like and subscribe and go check out our own handmade leather products. It's the only way we're able to afford like $1,000 of shoes every single week to cut in half to show you what you're spending your hard-earned money on. It's like $52,000 a year just on buying shoes. It's crazy. So anyways, let's see what's inside. So I was right, and you can see it's pretty simple inside, but there's a really good feature hiding above this egg crate outsole. It's this like half-shank layer they have right here in between the lasting layer and the outsole. It's really dense and really hard, which is good because on these egg crate outsoles, you need something really rigid to compress everything at the same time so you don't start like going in. A good example would be on the Adidas Superstar. They have this same exact egg crate, but this is not very stiff, and you can see how you'd go into these holes right there as you push down. And this one, it all compresses at once because that's so rigid. So pretty good move, Adidas. I've seen a lot of shoes do a lot worse with their egg crate situations, but honestly, pretty simple shoe. There's not much there. And so for final rankings, I'd go fit 6.5, board feel is a 4.5, and now you can see why. There's really nothing under your toes at all. Durability, I'm still gonna stick at 40. The outsole is nice and thick, but the upper abrasion has me a little bit worried about its longevity. And the cushion, I would also say a 40. This will definitely give you more response than cushion. Definitely one of those slim cup soles that some people really value and like. So for overall value, taking everything into account and doing the value equals quality over price equation, 0 being a terrible value, 100 being an amazing value, and 50 being a pretty average value, it's $85, which is unfortunately on the lower end of cupsole prices these days. I would probably go 50. It's not the worst, it's not the best, but what it lacks for in durability and cushion, it kind of makes up for in fit and response. So who is this shoe for? If you want a thinner cupsole that gives you a lot of board feel, that hugs your foot, you could do drops in them, like you're gonna get some squish in them, but I wouldn't choose it if I'm specifically doing a lot of drops or jumping down a lot of stairs repeatedly. It's like a really good ledge guy shoe, or a really good shoe for flat ground, or if you're dropping off, like if you're going up onto a ledge, you're doing a trick off. So those kind of drops, if that makes sense. I don't have a ton of experience in this shoe, but I have skated the Volk version a lot, and I quite enjoyed it, and I think the upper is pretty similar, and it just feels really good. Just a little bit lacking on the durability. So that should be everything you need to know about the Adidas Busenitz. It's a decent shoe, it fits well, and it looks really good. It'll be really good for flat ground, but it won't be the most durable or cushiony you have worn. And there's obviously a reason it's lasted so long. Just maybe opt for the suede versions, or get some shoe goo, get a patch, because this leather probably won't last very long. So let me know what other shoes we should do and review and cut and test. I have a lot of very sick ones lined up that all the old heads are going to love, and I can't believe some of them are still in business. So comment below. The comment section is a really good resource for everything like that. Yeah, that's it for me. Busenitz out.